Welcome into Bruins Overtime Live, presented by BuyAToyota.com. For offers not seen on TV, visit BuyAToyota.com. Adam Pellerin, Billy Jaffe, Barry Peterson. The Bruins with a 2-0 win on Jack Edwards night here at TD Garden as the woo in the background goes right on cue. Back-to-back shutout wins for the Bruins. Back-to-back wins for the first time, or second time, I should say, this year, guys.
I know, but the first time was a while.
Right? Yeah, it was a while ago.
It feels,
the first two home games of the year.
Feels like the first two. Okay. Dare I say better? I'm not going to say all is right. I'm going to say, but it's definitely better. And it feels like starting to form, right? Now, in theory, you're supposed to beat those teams. However, we know how darn hard this league can be at all times. And they hadn't been beating those teams. And we see a lot of these teams in the middle. The Bruins come through. I think the most important thing from this weekend, the shutouts in a row, besides this great goaltending, but also their commitment to blocking shots, playing team defense, that kind of structure, Barry, that we're seeing more of. We didn't see enough of early.
Yeah, I totally agree. And like Judd had said, now you're back to 500. So now, as you had said, you're walking. You're starting to walk where they were standing still. Right? Now they're walking. They're getting some things going. The middle of the lineup, that's 6 guys. We start to see them go a little bit better, led by Charlie Coyle this evening. Back on defense, McAvoy and Lindholm were exceptionally good today, moving their feet. Great job killing penalties. They did a great job boxing out, allowing Swayman to see the puck. So we're starting to see those little things. You know, penalty killing, much better.
And, amazing how much 48 hours. Maybe not even 48, right? A little less, that can make you feel different, right?
And Adam, we sit up here, we've been talking since the beginning of the year. Got to stay out of the penalty box.
Right.
We all sat here and said, Freddie took a good penalty. That was a really good penalty to take.
And the flip side, Seattle took some stupid penalties.
Yeah, they did. Larson that cross-check for me.
Unnecessary.
Yeah. And there are some numbers to back up what you guys are saying. We'll get into all that. Okay. 27 block shots, by the way, for the Bruins tonight, which
27.
Which is a season high. But let's
very Philadelphia Flyer like.
Very. Yeah, they had 28 in the win last
John Tortorella's going to like that.
Well, let's start with Jeremy Swayman in the third period. Didn't face a lot of shots early. In fact, he faced 3 in the first period, but faced a flurry in the third.
Yeah, he did. 13 shots, more, and a couple that didn't count because they end up hitting the crossbar or the post. So you give Seattle credit for showing up in the third. They're in a bit of a malaise now on this road trip, having lost 3 in a row. But they started to bust their behinds, and they got themselves into the offensive zone. So Swayman had to find pucks. He had to deal with traffic. He was very mobile in a good way here, pouncing on it, getting his blocker and his shoulder out there. I like the command of the crease that he had in that third period.
I thought he really challenged well. Yeah, as you said, a couple of posts, Montour and Stevenson rattled a couple off of there, but I really liked the way he was attacking the shooters in that slot, controlling his rebounds. The other thing, too, Billy, you can really see a lot is when the whistle went, whether he froze it or got icing or something, he was patting his defense, in particular, on the backside, saying, hey, good job, you boxed out. It allowed me to see the puck. He was tracking it very well, and when he wasn't tracking it, he hit a post.
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 in that third, and, what did Jerry Cheevers used to say?
That's all I gave him.
That's all you gave him. Right, that's exactly it. But, listen, the Bruins, they didn't even bend in that third, so to speak. They had to play. You knew that the opponent, you got to respect them. You know that they're going to show up, or at least you think they're going to. And Seattle did there. They brought it to. Now, the Bruins could have done a couple of other things, but they didn't have David Pastrnak in the third. We'll touch on that coming up.
Interesting storyline we'll have to follow.
And that probably makes a difference on the amount of zone time.
Remember, too, as we talk about that good penalty that Frederick takes early in that third, a good penalty kill, too.
Yeah.
Early in the year when they were taking a penalty, even if it was good or bad, they were getting scored against. Well, okay, now you've gone a couple of games here where you're getting your penalty killing much more connected. Much better job again. One guy's going, they're all jumping, they're all being aggressive.
23 saves for Jeremy Swayman tonight. He's our star of the game, presented by Subaru of New England. Fall in love with a brand new Subaru as you take a look at Jeremy Swayman's numbers at home this season. 4-2-0, 265-901 save percentage in his first shutout of the season. Andrew Raycroft, talk to him after the game.
Jeremy, first shutout of the National Hockey League season for you. Second for the team. Second this weekend. Big weekend for the goaltenders, but I'll give you the opportunity to talk about how great the guys were in front of you tonight.
You named it. That's something we're building on. Last 2 games, really making sure our D zone is a priority, and obviously you saw tonight they were clogging the middle, letting me see shots, and it's pretty rare you get 2 shutouts in a row. So that's a big testament to our team and the guys in front of us, in front of Corpy and I.
Yeah, goalie Bob will sleep well tonight. It's a good thing for him.
Yeah.
Not easy, though. Not like to only have 3 shots in the first period and then go a good distance into the second, not seeing a lot of pucks. To stay focused when your team's pounding away down at the other end, and especially on a back-to-back, it was just a great mental test for you tonight. I
think so, and that's something that you want as a strength between the pipes, making sure that we're in the moment. No matter what's happening, you're getting 10 shots in a minute or none at all in a period. So that's our job, is to stay focused and keep it one shot at a time. And again, I watched Corpy do it pretty well yesterday, so I had a good role model to go after. Well, it was a great weekend, great game, and get some rest tonight. Off to Toronto. That's right. I told you a long time ago, though, it's wasn't here for training camp, so I credit you for the first shutout of the year, and Kim Brandable from BU. Thank you so much. You got Appreciate it. Well, I didn't notice you weren't here in camp, but congrats.
Oh, wow. Look at the love during that interview.
The goalie union is really strong.
Really strong.
Razor's still paying his dues.
Yeah. He must owe somebody some money, right? Yeah. He owes somebody some money there. Oh boy.
Well, goalie.
By the way, if this is not brought up in the morning brew, I'm disappointed in you.
Oh, yeah. We are recording tonight.
Yes. Okay.
We may have to lead with that. Morning for Jeffy and Razor. Razor, tell us about the goalie.
Yeah, right. You see him giggling before the interview started?
Yes.
So you know there's some good goalie talk going on there. Well, he showed you how the Bruins finished out the game in the third period. But, for the second straight game, getting off to a good start, which has proved critical.
And what you're doing is you're taking what you did well last game, right? And you're taking those good vibes by starting out good in the next game, starting out well, and you're saying, all right, we're here. We're here to play. We're not going to wait. We're not going to wallow into this game, or, we're going to get into it. And I love the way that the Bruins initiated. I loved how they got some pucks along the wall, and I loved how they worked it behind the net. Barry, I talk about this so much. To me, it's beautiful hockey when you use the back of the net, change the point of attack, and you start cycling and doing all that. I know it's not the highlight reel stuff that you see, on the NHL Network and stuff like that. But that's where the game is really played, especially in the O-zone. And you earn your keep to do it, and the Bruins did.
And they wore them down, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't only the forwards. We saw the aggressive peak there. We saw McAvoy, Lindholm throughout the game, pinching. It was a good 5-man connected attack. As we said earlier on, when they were struggling, it was disconnected. Now, as Brick likes to talk about, you got guys close to each other. You're supporting each other. I'm there for the breakout. I'm taking the body when I need to. I'm clogging up the middle when I need to. The little things that they weren't doing, Adam, earlier on, you hope is now going to become good habits for them. And I think Tuesday is going to be a real good test against a team that's going to be very desperate up in Toronto.
Yeah, we'll look ahead to the matchup against the Maple Leafs coming up. And by the way, one of the solid games the Bruins played this year was against Toronto Maple Leafs here at TD Garden. Obviously, they lost the Flyers and Hurricanes in between.
Right. They didn't follow that game up. That's the best part about this weekend, is they followed up a good one with another good one.
I think, too, Adam, coming off of those highlights, showing all the Bruins' good habits and how they dominated early on in that game, you have to give a little shout-out to Daccord, too, for them. I mean, he kept them in the hockey game. Yeah, he kept them in the game early on. He really played solid.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and he was very good in the win in his only other start going into tonight back in February in a win against the Bruins, but suffers the 2-0 loss here. Justin Brazeau scored against the Flyers.
Again.
Scores again. 4th goal in his last 6 games.
The big boy is getting some big goals. But again, it take a hit to make the play. And then Coyle takes 1 hit, 2 hits, 3 hits, and the second and third are when he's on one knee. What a gorgeous play. And again, the strength to command the puck. He makes it look easy. The rotation from right to left, and then Zadorov with no hesitation, Barry, puts it into a real good area. Here we've got Charlie Coyle isolated. Watch, 1 hit. There's a little bump, 2 hits. Now he goes down, 3 hits, and then he gets up. Makes it look nice and easy.
And look at how Brazeau came all the way over to support him. If he was able to get it to, he was open the slot. As they moved it across, Brazeau moves across and gets good inside position. But as you're saying, just great puck possession by Coyle. That starts the whole thing. They move it across quickly. And, of course, Zadorov, as we talked about, too, Billy, we showed the first period, had his head up the whole time. He was looking for that stick for that deflection.
Charlie Coyle, what a game. And what a goal on the power play for the Bruins.
Could have been the star.
His other goal this year, it was on the power play as well. And this was just a thing of beauty.
Yeah, it was. And it's a great pass by Brad Marchand all the way across. But again, the impressive part, here's a guy who's been struggling a little bit offensively. You think his confidence would be down, but he's been playing better the last game or two. He gets this thing, Billy. He's just like, okay, hipsy-doody. We'll just make a little move here. No panic whatsoever, and just a spectacular move.
Yeah, and a really good play by Marchand to wait for Borgen, who went down to kind of, I call it side cell, the one knee he kind of does there, like the like a baseball catcher almost, kind of the old school, the old Tony Pena.
No, that's look at you.
You like
Man, but baseball acumen's high on this one. I like that.
But as we talked about too, after that, by him being patient and waiting, he's only got a foot and a half. That he's waiting that patient to make Daccord finally make one move,
he attacks
two moves.
him.
Yeah, he comes out of him. As he comes out of him, it's like, okay, finally I can go around you. But he had to wait and be very patient.
Charlie Coyle, second star of the game here tonight. So it was a developing story in the third period. We noticed that David Pastrnak was on the bench, but hadn't taken a shift in the third period. As it turns out, didn't play at all during that third period. And Jim Montgomery said that was a coach's decision.
I think it goes back to the turnover late in the second period. I do. I think it goes back to this one, folks. Here you go, late in the period. You got to manage the period, manage the time. You try and beat somebody right in the middle of the ice, and then back the other way if it wasn't for good hustle by some other Bruins and stuff. And you know what? If that's what, I haven't got to see what Monty said, but if that's the case, then that's the situation there, Pellerin, because what else would it be? I mean, unless it's just the culmination of some things, Bear, but that to me was glaring at the end of the second.
The difficult part was we were watching him between TV timeouts and
middle of the
forth.
second.
Yeah,
third.
Middle of the third. We're watching him stretch. He's I can't tell if he's, a little gingerly or not, or he just knows. But he's out there trying to stay. He was the first guy off the bench to congratulate Sway.
And then the first guy off.
The first guy off, too. So
into the locker room.
Because I think the other thing about that turnover, too, it wasn't just that it was on the power play. There's 48 seconds left.
That's what I mean. Yeah. They manage the clock, yeah.
You've got to have a real good feel of how the game's going. It's like, I got to get this thing deep, and we got to get after it. The last thing I could do is to have the penalty killers go back against me.
And what did we talk pregame?
Yeah.
About too, right? That how we know that there's more there. You understand how special he is and everything, but yet we had talked about that we hadn't seen it to the level that we know that that he can bring it.
And I think it's also, from the coaching standpoint, it's also continuation of what we saw last week that Marshy said, right? When Monty come down and, hey, are you listening to what I'm saying to you? And Marshy, who handled it beautifully, like we said, it's like, hey, I made a mistake, and then from what we know so far, that's what we think is happening. We don't know.
And what did the captain say about that? If Monty didn't lay into them, then he'd be an even bigger problem.
Correct.
He'd be disappointed, he said, if he didn't give it to me.
Yep.
And so here's another leader. And again, you can't have tiered coaching. You know,
right.
you need
selective, right?
You can't. You've got to make sure. So we'll get more and more information. But that's what I would think would be the reason. That turnover we showed you would be the reason if there was one. Maybe there was more than one for all we know.
Andy Brickley's conversation with Jim Montgomery is coming up next, so we will hear what he has to say about that. And, Barry, you talked about taking good penalties. Well, Matt Patrick gets lit up, and Trent Frederick immediately comes to his defense and gets the better of Larson in this bout. Bruins with a 2-0 win over the Kraken tonight.